Welcome to Mental Stillness. My name is Derek, and I'm excited that somehow you stumbled across this podcast. One of my goals when starting this podcast was to bring mental health conversations into leadership circles. This episode is special. I got to sit down in person with Josh Teater, a seasoned PGA Tour professional whose career reflects perseverance, resilience, and a deep appreciation for the game of golf. Josh is a Lexington, Kentucky native, and he also graduated from Morehead State University. He turned professional in 2001 and spent years competing on mini tours and developmental tours before breaking through and earning his PGA Tour card. Over his career, Josh has recorded multiple top finishes on the PGA Tour and has repeatedly battled his way back through the Korn Ferry Tour to compete at golf's highest level. His journey has made him widely respected among players as a true journeyman, someone who keeps showing up, putting in the work, and competing with humility and heart. Josh is a two-time winner on the Korn Ferry Tour. In 2009, he won the Utah Championship, and then this past February, in 2025, he won the Panama Championship. In 2013, Josh played in the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines in San Diego, California, and I'm bringing that specific tournament up because he tied for second place, and the winner of that tournament was Tiger Woods. We talk about his mindset and how he approaches the game of golf, and I have mad respect for Josh. I've followed him for many years, and he has been chasing his dream and been a professional golfer for over 23 years, which is truly admirable. For anybody who knows golf, it is an incredibly challenging sport in general, let alone trying to be a PGA touring professional. So please enjoy this episode. Well, I'm here with Josh Teater, and this is another episode of the Mental Stillness Podcast. So I appreciate you coming in and talking with me, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. Thanks for having me. Look forward to the conversation for sure.
Tell a little bit about like who you are and kind of what you do, and I know you're a Kentucky native as well, so just give a little bit about a bio if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I grew up here in central Kentucky, moved from Harrodsburg to Lexington after first grade, and, you know, was always into sports, and growing up here, you want to play in Rupp Arena down the street. You want to be that guy, that Trent Noah right now, you know, but, you know, that didn't happen. A little short, a little slow, didn't have a good enough shot, so then I was a big baseball player through high school, and that was my best sport, and played golf, but kind of picked that up kind of early high school, and then kind of saw toward the end of high school that might be my path to college, and, you know, chose that, played at Morehead State down the road, was there 5 years and kind of got better along the way, and tried to turned pro right after that, and I've been playing professional 23 years now. So been fortunate enough to, you know, have great days and make the PGA Tour, and played 10 seasons out there at this point, and Korn Ferry Tour as well, and then started out prior to those two tours with the mini tours for 7 years, kind of fighting through to make it to the top. So yeah, that's kind of the short story. You know, my family was into golf a little bit. My stepdad played, my mom. That's kind of what eventually got me into it, along with some friends. Because at first I did not like golf at all.
What did you not like about it?
I just didn't understand it, I think, and it was slow. I wanted to be on the baseball field or whatever it may be, but, you know, growing up out at Greenbrier here in town, I would be at the pool. I'd see the driving range, and I'm like, I think I could hit that ball. I think I could maybe play that game. And it took from probably age 10 to 12 to me to finally convince my family to get me some clubs and it not affect my baseball. So I think age 12 I got started and probably played my first tournament when I was 13 or 14, and haven't stopped.
For those that don't know much about what it means to have your card, whether Korn Ferry or PGA, like give a little bit of a summary of like, how do you get on tour?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can turn pro as a golfer, but typically they have this thing called Q School, which is a series of tournaments in each fall, which is going on right now. Luckily, I'm exempted to the final stage because of my play this past season, and I get to go, chase a PGA Tour card. The top 5 players there will earn that. But some of my friends, go back to the early 2000s, 2003 and 4, like up to 2007, I was going to first stage. You either make it through or you don't. And if you don't, you go back to the drawing board. You got to wait another year to try to qualify, or maybe you go chase each tournament's Monday qualifier and try to sneak into the event and try to make a splash and earn your way that way. That's a tough way to go. I never had a ton of success with that. I did successfully make a few of them, but never got rolling enough to gain status on Korn Ferry or PGA Tour. So, I went to Q School 7 times, and finally the 7th time I made my way to the finals. And in 2008, I was able to earn a card on what was then the Nationwide Tour. And, from there, I think I kind of snowballed that into a great season in 2009, which led me to the PGA Tour in 2010. Thankful that I've been able to do it, and very blessed with a lot of talent and some hard work has got me there.
Some of the top, and it seems pretty plug and play. They're that good. It must be, but for most people, it's a grind.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a enjoyable grind, I would say, most of the time. And there's so many people that have been a part of my journey and helping me get there, whether it's been financially or prayerfully or letting me sleep on their couch or hosting my family at their house, whatever it may be. And, I could make a list of all those people and we'd be here for years.
Different than other sports, you're not guaranteed money. Mm-hmm. It's like you got to make it to the weekend, and you go to those qualifiers and you have to pay to get in just for the chance to make the tournament, and you have to pay for your caddy yourself. I mean, there's a lot of that adds up kind of quick as well.
Yeah, for sure. Not a cheap sport, pretty expensive. So to have great financial backing and, partners that kind of team up with you at the beginning and believe in you and give you a chance, that make a huge difference. And then, you get to a spot where, you're on the tour, you can attract, some other endorsements, which are very helpful with all those expenses.
Well, before we transition to kind of maybe some of the mindset or what's allowed you to stay locked in and focused throughout 23 years, I believe what you said on the tour. If you ever want to feel better about your golf swing, I'll show you a video of mine. It's like they talk about, I think my club points directly behind me somehow. I'm somehow got this move I can't fix. And so I'll send it to you later and you can judge me harshly.
I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah. So that I kind of want to pivot to thinking through many of the listeners are people in different industries who are trying to show up their best for themselves, their family, their teams. And so I would love to give us a little bit of insight of all the distractions and the noise and the travel and all the things. What have you found in 23 years that has allowed you to show up confidently and not get in your head? And I know we're all susceptible to it. It all happens to us all the time. Some of us just hide it better than others. How do you stay locked in and focused? Because it's such a game of focus.
Yeah, I mean, I think, number one, it's just, if I trust my beliefs and my thought process and everything, that, like, if I go day to day, I mean, one day I might think I'm the greatest player there ever was, and the next day or the next week I might think the opposite. But, to be, grounded in my faith and know that, my identity is not in the game of golf, I think has been a huge thing for me to be able to do it as long as I have. And then, I just love to compete. I love the way that I can compete with other players, in tournaments and through practice, competing with myself. I think I said this many times, but like all the teams I've ever been on, I don't think I was ever the best player, whether it was baseball or it was golf. And I think that challenged me to just always have a want to get better and a desire to improve. And To this day, I mean, I see guys that I play with, and I'm like, I still need to get better, you know. So,
Where did that competitive drive come from?
you know, it's a great question. I mean, I just always was playing a sport. I think from the time I could walk, whether it was with neighbors or my family, my brothers. I mean, my stepbrother, we'd play basketball in the hallway of the house, and he was 5 years older. But I mean, I'd play with his friends in the driveway. I might find myself on the pavement, but I was going to get back up.
You had to, right?
Yeah.
Well, and you know, you mentioned competitive, not being the best, but you know, like committing to the work to be able to be your best. Maybe not to be the best on the team, but to be your best. And so, we haven't said this yet, but you've won twice, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And what was the years of those? Because there was a gap.
Yeah, so they're both Korn Ferry wins. The first one was 2009, and the most recent was 2025. So
when you said earlier, you got some exemptions because of how you played in 25, right? 2025.
I did, yeah, early on. Yeah, I got the exemptions to kind of keep my career going, I would say, and you know, I ended up turning that into a victory pretty early this year, and kind of changed the outlook for the year, and you know, kept me rolling.
Well, and I saw after you won, when I was kind of going through the highlights, because I've followed you for a long time. I'm on the Teater's Troops Facebook page.
We love having you.
That's it. Well, proud member. But yeah, and it kind of came across to me as well, like whenever you're calling your wife and your family right after that win, and you made a comment in there that I didn't realize, and maybe it was known, but I just didn't know it. But it was like, hey, it wasn't that long ago I thought I was done.
Yeah.
And so it seems like that was pretty pivotal for you. And I know you're saying that. So were you about to kind of hang up the golf shoes?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, at the end of 24, which was a tough season on the PGA Tour, after, you know, getting back after 23, I kind of had some great hopes and ideas and dreams that, hey, I'm gonna have a great few years, and we'll see where we are when we turn 50. But it didn't turn out that way, and kind of ran out of status. I mean, I was a member of the Korn Ferry Tour, but I wasn't going to get any tournaments without a couple of exemptions in the Bahamas. And thankfully, just the way the Lord works, some good friends of ours from here in Lexington, Brooks Downing, Josh Franklin at BD Global, run those events. And they were able to get me in those two, and I was able to do enough damage in those to get into the next one in Panama by finishing 7th in Abaco, and playing on house money, went down there and ended up winning. And here we are, you know, with another chance to get a tour card at the end of this year, here in about 3 weeks at Q School, and you know, another season on the Korn Ferry at the very least.
Wow, what a turn of events, right?
Yeah, it's a wild game. I mean, you can feel like you're playing great and not get much out of it, or show up to a tournament with not many expectations and surprise yourself, I would say.
I've always wanted to ask someone of your caliber, tell us, share with us, what's the biggest shank that you remember? I'm using the S word.
Shank. Oh, man.
And it could be due to maybe when it happened, or the outcome of where the ball hit or who it hit.
Yeah, I would say Reno, Nevada, the tournament out there. I was in the next to last group with a chance to win the tournament, maybe a shot or so back on the 17th hole on Sunday. Crazy hole.
Which is the final round for the...
Correct, yeah. The 71st hole. 72nd hole's a par 5. But crazy hole, big drop off the tee, like 40, got to play 40 yards downhill, usually hitting like a 3 or 4 iron off the tee, leaving yourself with a pitching wedge off of a downslope to a pretty protected green with bunkers and stuff. And you know, we're playing at elevation, there's all these factors, and you know, the ball's going far at elevation, so I think I have a pitching wedge in my hand, and I just kind of get leaning a little bit too far left on this downswing, and it comes straight off the hosel and into the...
We can laugh now.
Into the bushes, and the chances of winning that tournament are gone. But I would say, in play, that's probably my biggest one.
Sorry to make you talk about
Hey,
it, but
it happens,
it's the reality.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you mentioned playing at Morehead, and I'm from Eastern Kentucky. I grew up in Flatwoods, and I played at Russell High School. I played golf for a couple years, and we had a tournament at Eagle Trace, right? And so I was on the JV team as like a junior.
Yeah.
And but our coach double booked us,
yeah.
and so our JV team had to go and play against St. X, Lexington Catholic, and I think LCA.
Okay.
And we're a little Russell, and so we go and show up, and I somehow got lucky. I was playing like the 1 or 2 of that tournament. Number 1 at Eagle Trace.
Yeah.
They put bleachers up.
Oh, wow.
And I was like getting my nerves going. I'm like, watch out. I remember, I think it's on the left side, it's OB. Is there like a cow pasture or something? I hit 5 off the first tee.
Oh, man.
Just duck hooked every one of them into, and like everybody on my team was laughing. But every time I think of Eagle Trace, it's kind of traumatic because I'm like, yeah, that was a painful high school memory with all those people watching and all that. So those are probably some of my 5 biggest shanks.
All right.
So,
well, I'm going to flip it right there because I played that course so many times at Morehead, and over my career, I've been a pretty good driver of the ball, and I think a lot of it has to do with playing there because it was so tight and snug off the trees. So, yeah.
So I need to go back and have a redemption. Okay,
for sure.
I'm on it.
There's probably less trees there now too. I feel like every course takes down trees. So.
Yeah. Well, I took down 5 of them with my drive. So walk through whenever you think about like stress, and some people's like their goal in life is to live stress free, and the reality is it's not a reality. It's impossible, and stress isn't something that we always need to resist or work against. We just need to, it's how we handle it. And so I know in pressure moments, golf's one of those to where we talk about teams. There's very few situations in golf where there is a team dynamic at the professional level. It's like, it's on you. It's on you to deliver in that moment. And I know it didn't work out at Reno, but there's been other moments it has worked out for you. So what has worked well for you in those moments of high stress, I think just to kind of tamping that down and to be able to still hold a golf club. I know how I feel in a golf scramble, I'm shaking, let alone when you're on at the level you're at. So how do you manage stress?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is an awesome goal, is to want to live stress-free, but as you said, it's not going to happen. So how do you deal with it? And I think number one is like when you're in a situation where you're trying to perform and play with some of the best players in the world, like, you got to welcome it, number one, and want to have that. You don't want to be playing Sunday at 8 a.m. and flying out by 1 o'clock and nobody knows you're even there, I mean, we practice hard and we do all this work to put us in a position to have those stressful moments and test ourselves. So number one is welcome them. Number two, I think, is to have a solid group of people around you, whether it's your out there, you say you don't have a team, but you have a caddy who's right there as a teammate and somebody that, can be a sounding board. And in my opinion, I like hearing jokes and making jokes when we're not like in the act of, working on a shot or playing, walking the fairways.
Just keep it light.
Having fun, stay light. And then, your coaches and everybody that's around you, even your family, like my wife, Ashley, she's always been supportive and challenging at the same time when I need it, So, sometimes she gives me what I need to get with the hard truth, and I appreciate that. But, so many people feed into you and, you want to make sure that you're getting fed by the right people. And sometimes you can get, great information, and sometimes there can be stuff that you don't want to hear that, because at the end of the day, whether you shank it in the weeds or hit 5 balls off the first tee, like, who's going to remember that, down the road? We're all in great hands of the Lord, and I try to remember that daily and live into that as I'm playing.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the family dynamic. So do they get to go to a lot of the tournaments with you? How's that work? I know you got a couple kids.
Yeah, so for a long time, yes. My boy's Bane he's 11 and Brooks is 8 now. So, school, and then their activities have become a lot more. So they're not able to travel as much as they once did. Last summer, which in 2024, they did 8 straight weeks out on the road with me. So we made some great memories, getting stuck in Reno airport for 2 days when Delta had a shutdown or a glitch in the system. It wasn't fun at the time, but we'll be able to look back and see those pictures of us with the frowny faces and remember, hey, that was
our living quarters.
That was a memory we made, But I mean, this year not as many. I think they only got to come to one in Louisville. So
ISCO,
yeah. But next year the plan is to get out there and get to some more, and I think they're both my kids are starting to play golf, and Bain played on the middle school team at LCA, and Brooks played on the little Under Armour tour here as well as Bain. But a friend of mine, Daniel Summerhays, on tour, he starts taking his kids out there one at a time, just him and his kid for a week of a tournament. They're a little bit older, but Bain's not. He's getting close to that age where I feel like I can take him and he can. Other than getting up at 4:30 a few mornings a week, I think he can handle it.
Yeah. You don't have to have the. I think Tony Finau takes his whole family, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's
he does.
like I don't know. Yeah. They must be homeschooled.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, there's a lot of people who do that, especially in the summers.
Let's talk a little bit about the Grayson Murray Award. So, it's me and my son. We went and saw. I think it was at the PGA Championship, the Scheffler year.
Yes.
As we saw Grayson play, he was in the group there, and shortly after he tragically passed away. So share a little bit of what the award is, and then also just to be a recipient of that.
Yeah, I mean, so Grayson was I always had great interaction with Grayson, whether we were paired together or saw each other in the practice area. When I met him at the U.S. Open in 2013, because my caddy at the time had a relationship with him through his son. They were teammates in college, and from that day, like every time I'd see him, it'd be a great interaction, and obviously a wonderful player and golfer, and he was open about it. He struggled with stuff, and I remember at the beginning of 2024 seeing him in the desert out in Palm Springs. We practiced. We played a practice round before going to Hawaii, and then 6-7 days later he wins the tournament over there. So it was doing amazing, like great guy, asking me about the Bible studies, and but we know how deep and how some of this stuff can kind of affect you. And obviously I don't know where he was at the time when he passed, but he was just always kind to people, and they created an award called the Be Kind Award, and this was the first year of it since his passing last year. And in Kansas City, where he had won an event on Korn Ferry, they gave that out and had the votes from the caddies and the players for the player that was the most kind to all the other players and caddies. And I think I was being myself, as I always have, and I got noticed, and I was very honored to be the first recipient, number one. I wish there wasn't an award, because I wish Grayson was still with us, but I just think if you treat people the way you want to be treated, you probably have a pretty good life.
I think even more of a reason to be kind, because you don't know what people are going through.
Very true, yeah. Yeah, it's easy, to have and I would say I'm guilty. It's easy to have the very shallow, like, how you doing conversation, but I mean, why not, if you feel like you need to go have a meal with somebody, or, in my case, play a practice round with somebody, like, feel free to do it, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being with people, and we're designed for community, and I mean, I think one of my favorite things to do is to meet people for lunch,
At Dad's Favorites.
Dad's Favorites, you got it.
It's a local spot here in Lexington that's phenomenal. Been big supporters of you as well through the years, right? So Josh, you mentioned and I know that faith's a big deal for you. So kind of talk us through what spiritual community looks like while you're traveling.
Yeah, it's we've always had a Bible study from the days I played the Hooters tour. Somebody from FCA Golf would come and kind of lead the study, and then we have anywhere from maybe 4 or 5 to 25 people show up, and then most recently College Golf Fellowship, which is a ministry that started back around 1980. I think just two guys that were ministering to college golf teams in the Texas area. In North Carolina, they have now grown, and they've kind of taken, I guess, this chaplaincy of the PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour, and some great guys, Stephen Bunn and Brad Payne and Corky Kemp, Liam Kane. Some of those guys will show up at events and just they'll be on the range. They'll walk practice rounds with us, have dinners. We'll have a Tuesday night gathering where we get in the Word and we study something. We may go through a book of the Bible, or we may have a theme we're looking through for a month or two. But that's kind of how we keep our community. And then we play practice rounds together at times. We'll may get a pickleball game together one evening before the gathering, or whatever it may be. Just watch games together, rent houses, stay together. I think all those things are things that you'll see that kind of lead to that community. And then, somebody may not be there one week, but they're there the next, or whatever. We're connecting. We may even go deeper with like a smaller group, 3 or 4 guys on a phone call each week to just kind of stay grounded, I would say. So thanks to those guys for being able to come out and do that and set all that up for us.
I have to ask the other side of it, because I made you relive your traumatic shanks that you shared about as well. But what's been the most memorable shot you've had on tour, or memorable moment?
Yeah, that's a good one. Those 2 wins obviously are very memorable. One in a fashion that I was leading starting the day in Utah in 2009, and started with a long eagle putt and made it, and ended up chipping in on the 71st hole that time for another eagle.
Something about the 71st hole, man.
Yeah. Actually made double bogey on the last hole, but still won by 4 shots. And then to go to Panama this year and really not even be in contention, middle of the pack, just trying to maybe finish in the top 25 to go to the next week, and the conditions got tough, firm and fast, and I was able to post a score. And it's a kind of course where sometimes the leaders back up, and it was to my advantage that they did that week, and I was victorious again. So both of those are great memories. If we have one shot, tying for second at Torrey Pines in 2013 was a huge week, huge step. Tiger Woods won the tournament, so he won by, I think, 4, and kind of lost some gas coming in there. He was making a bogey and a double bogey in the last 4 or 5 holes, so he had a huge lead. So second, I would say, is what we were shooting for the start of that day. And to come down the last hole and have a wedge shot into that iconic green and hit a little 3/4 pitching wedge in there and have about a 4-footer for birdie to tie for second. That was a pretty huge shot, I would say.
I would have collapsed. Everything I've studied and teach people about stress management, out the door. I would have fell over just like a fainting goat. Of all the courses you've played, best hole or most favorite hole you've actually played?
Let's see. My favorite course is Pebble Beach. From the time I was able to go there the first time, and the first tour event I played there in AT&T in 2010, finishing 5th, and wonderful weather. Can't beat it. The beauty there, and I'd say that 18th hole is pretty nice there. I've always had pretty good luck on it. Hit some nice tee balls, able to go for the green and 2, and walking off that place with a birdie is always
it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling.
What would your ideal foursome be?
Oh man, that's a great question.
He hasn't seen me play yet.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to wait till later to see that. I mean, I played so much golf with my parents. To get back out there with them would be amazing. I've not been paired with Tiger Woods. I think that would be a great person to play with to this day. And I mean, I know it's more than four, but I think I said earlier, I like to laugh. And Nate Bargatze,
I saw your Nate Land
he's
head
a
cover.
huge, he's a huge golfer. I've been able to meet him briefly a couple times, but I think that'd be a hilarious day on the course.
Well, man, I know from a standpoint of whether it be business leaders or lay golfers like myself, I just wanted to say, and I appreciate and we talked a little bit before the conversation, just the vulnerability and the humanity that I think that you probably just naturally carry, and I don't think you have to turn that switch on. It's just kind of how God's wired you and but I think you leaning into that is a big reason that you won the Grayson Murray Award and you've had success that you've had, and you're easy to cheer for, in so many ways. And so I just want to say thanks for kind of being yourself. As I talk to leaders and they're in certain environments where I think it's kind of maybe hard to do that sometimes because it's whether it be the culture that they're in, but there's something about living into who we are and being ourselves that's very freeing. And also that's when I find in conversations, people are craving that and they lean into that. And so I just wanted to say for myself or whoever else, like I really do appreciate that about you, Josh. And I followed you from afar for quite a while as a Teater's troop here. And but yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for leading in that way, and with the platform that you have, I think it goes a long way for people.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much of a better way to live than how you feel like you're supposed to, and how you're led, and knowing that, everything here on this earth is fleeting, and we want to do our best, and we want to succeed and win the trophies and do all we can, but to know that one day, like, it's not gonna matter,